Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, the Land of Life. How you doing? I'm doing pretty well. Forgive me if my hair and my makeup looks a little whack. It's probably because, your girl was out and about all day, trying to do some DoorDash, and it was kind of hot, so I was sweating, and, I ain't trying to redo all that. So today's video is a story time, and my story time today is about why I quit my job as a C.N.A, which is a certified nurse assistant. For the sake of time, I decided I was gonna kind of skip over some of the stuff I was talking about, but basically, by the time I was 20, I still didn't graduate high school yet, but I decided to go to this vocational training program called Job Corps, where I decided to become a C.N.A, get my high school diploma, and kind of just get my life on track. Anyways, fast forward to when I was 20 years old. I still had not graduated high school, so I had decided to go to Job Corps. And for those of you who may not know, Job Corps is a place, like a schooling place, I guess you could say. It's kind of like a school. It's like a vocational school type of situation. And basically you can take different types of trades, and yeah, you can get like certified in that trade, or just like gives you training so that way you can get a job, and also at the same time you can get your high school diploma. So I made the decision to get my high school diploma, and the trade that I chose was certified nurse assisting. The reason I chose to be a C.N.A, a certified nurse assistant, was because I wanted to help people, and I was also very interested in the medical field at that time. So I thought it was like a good combination, good situation, I guess, to help people, especially those who can't help themselves. So anyways, I went through with my training. It took me 9 months from when I got to Job Corps to complete my training. That's including like clinicals and stuff like that, which clinicals is when you actually go to like a skilled nursing facility or something of the sort, and you do like on-site training, with actual patients, actual residents. So I did that and then I got certified in November of 2014. That's when I passed my state board test. So at that time, after I got my certification, my first job was working in a residential care facility for the elderly, which was basically a house full of residents, which we could only have 6 residents in that particular home. If they need help to go to the bathroom, you're helping them. If they need help in the shower, you're cleaning them. Whatever they need help with. While I was working there in this residential care facility, which was inside of a house, I decided I needed more hours because I was only working part-time there, which was probably like 2 or 3 days a week, if that. I was like, girl, your girl needs her money, okay? I need some more hours. So I applied to work in a skilled nursing facility. And this particular skilled nursing facility specialized in Alzheimer's. So Alzheimer's and people with dementia. Fortunately, I got a call probably like a week if that later. They wanted me to come in for orientation. So basically that meant I was hired, which was kind of like, I was like, wow, I'm a brand new C.N.A and they're just gonna hire me on the spot like that, but I was like, at the same time I was like, oh wow, this is a really cool opportunity. So I decided to take it. So I show up to the orientation and I do all my paperwork and I do everything they asked me to do, which included a drug test, which I took and passed, and everything was good to go. They gave my start date, and I had to let my boss at the residential care facility know that I was going to be starting this new job and that he would have to work around my hours at this new job. It's my first day, and during your first 3 days, 4 sometimes if you're lucky, you're required to be like shadowing another C.N.A. This place was horrible, and what I'm gonna say right now, and I really hope you listen, is if for some reason you need to put your loved one in a skilled nursing facility or any kind of like care home or anything where someone else is gonna be taking care of them, it don't matter how professional you think this place is. It don't matter how professional you think the staff is or how well you think they're going to be taking care of your loved one. I encourage you so strongly, so strongly, to please double check and please be looking out for your loved one. So my first day there, I already encountered like 2 different things that I knew was like kind of strange. So the first thing was, there was a woman who had just had a hip replacement, and when your resident had a hip replacement, you're supposed to be extra careful with them because like it's a very fragile area, so you have to be very careful with them. You have to do things a certain way, and I was not even involved with this transfer. I was just observing because I'm preparing to C.N.A, so I'm shadowing. I literally watched them take this woman and basically like pick her up like a rag doll, and she's screaming in pain, and they just threw her on the bed, and I'm like, oh no, that is not right. So I witnessed them do this transfer, and it really just kind of sank my heart, and I was like, okay, well maybe I could be the one that makes a difference in this place, because obviously they don't seem to care very much. Another thing I seen on that first day was a man who had dementia, and like I said, they get confused. They don't always know exactly what they're doing, and in this particular case, he went and he whipped his stuff out, and he began to urinate all over the carpet in the hallway. But anyway, so I called for the janitor to come help clean this up, and tell me why this man all he does is grab a towel off of his janitor cart, barehanded, okay? He barehandedly grabs this towel and just pats it up off the carpet, the urine. Just no glove, nothing, just trying to pat it up. And I was like, okay, obviously this place is not very clean, because that's gross. Okay. Another situation, this is probably my 3rd day, I think, now, and this was like the one that broke the camel's back. As I was checking on my resident, I noticed that there was some kind of liquid leaking from, like, I don't even know where it was coming from, but it was like all over their bed, and I was like, why is there this weird liquid all over their bed? What the heck? So I'm following it, trying to figure out where it's coming from, and it's coming from this person's feeding tube. Feeding tube, okay? Their freaking feeding tube. Like, what the hell? Are you serious? Anyways, so I go and I tell my charge nurse, who was in charge, right? My nurse, the one in charge of me, I go tell them that, hey, this person's feeding tube isn't even like connected to them, and it's leaking all over them. Like, can you come fix this? And tell me why this nurse comes into the room and she's just like, I forgot to connect it. I was just like, oh my God, I can't with this place. And I literally quit that day. That was my last day there. I didn't want to go back. I was like, I can't do it here. I can't do it because, like, in my heart, I wanted to take care of people. That's what I want to do. And this place was just like too far gone for me. So I just let it go. And I did report them to the state of California because I was like, they're doing all kinds of things that they should not be doing. And in my heart, I know that was the right thing to do, because like, if you put your loved one somewhere and you want to believe that these people are going to be taking care of them, like, and they're not, they think it's a joke, or they think it's some kind of game to be playing with someone's loved ones, like, that's not right. So I left that place, and then I took kind of a hiatus for a minute, a couple months probably, took a few months to kind of figure out what I want to do. And then I had reconnected with one of my friends that I had at Job Corps, and they told me that they were working at this other nursing facility. So I was like, oh, maybe I'll give this place, a try. So got into contact with them, and they kind of, told me like how to go about it and all this good stuff. And they hooked me up with the hiring nurse. Got into contact with her and got an interview set up. Did pretty good in the interview, and passed my background check and my drug test and everything like that. They decided to hire me, and so I had to do my shadowing thing again there, because it was a brand new place. And they were doing things pretty well over there. I actually really enjoyed it. I worked there for probably like 6 months or so before I ended up quitting. If you're gonna get into this field, you have to be strong, okay? If somebody's gonna smack you, you gotta let it go. If they're gonna yell at you, you gotta let it go. Sometimes they're gonna try to urinate on you. You gotta let it go. Okay? You gotta have a strong stomach. You gotta have a strong mentality to deal with this type of stuff, because the hardest parts are like not even getting smacked around. The hardest part is losing your resident. When you get a bond with your resident, the hardest thing is to lose that person. And it's gonna happen. So if you're gonna get into this field, you gotta be strong. If not, this is not the thing for you, okay? It's not. And so I really commend all my brothers and sisters out there who are still CNAs and working in these hospitals, these care homes, and these nursing facilities. Anywhere you're working, where you're taking care of another person, I salute you, seriously, because you have to be strong. So I had this resident in this facility. And at first, she was very nice to me. She enjoyed my company. She liked the way I was taking care of her, or whatever. She said something like that. She liked me, okay? And her roommate did too. She was like becoming really demanding. Like, she would be asking for things from me and me only, like every 5 seconds. And I felt like it was definitely a race thing. Like, she thought I was her own personal assistant. But let me tell you something. When you're working in these places, you have like a good 12 residents per evening. And that's like on average on a good day, I'd say. 12 residents. And on a bad day when somebody calls off, you could have like 15 or even more maybe. I don't know. I think there's a state cap, but girl, let me tell you something. They be lying on that paperwork. This resident was getting really, really demanding with me, and I definitely felt like it was a race thing, and I was not happy about it, but I was dealing with it the best that I could. And then on this one particular day, she decided that it would be a good idea for her to start screaming my name, because I didn't bring her water fast enough. She wanted to start screaming my name, Yolanda! Yolanda! Like, literally, you could probably hear this crap throughout the whole facility. And I'm like, why is she screaming my name like this? So I go in there, and she's like, where's my water? And and I'm like, what the hell? I was just like throwing them back, because I'm like, why is she yelling like this? What? I was tripping out. So anyway, she's yelling at me and all this extra stuff, and I'm just like, whoa, how do I even deal with this? So I was like, you know what? I told her, I said, you know what? I really don't appreciate the way you're speaking to me right now. I'm gonna go get my charge nurse and have him come talk to you, okay? So anyways, I went and left calmly, even though I was actually getting pretty upset. Like, not angry, but I was upset. Like, why is she doing this right now? Like, she's like, it was like embarrassing, you know, because everybody could hear it, and I was just like, what the hell? So I tell him what's going on, and he's like, what? You know, tripping out too. So he goes in there to talk to her, and basically, like, he said that she didn't want me to be her C.N.A. or whatever anymore. So I was like, well, at this rate, the way she's been acting, I don't mind, you know. So I let it go, and I switched rooms with somebody else because she didn't want me taking care of her anymore. So after that, I wasn't her C.N.A. anymore. I wasn't even allowed into the room, which kind of sucked because her roommate actually really liked her, and she was really nice to me all the time. And I enjoyed taking care of her, but because the other lady was in there, I wasn't allowed in that room anymore. She decided to report me to the California Department of Public Health, which is the place who kind of like manages CNAs and their certifications, I guess you could say, something like that. So she decided to report me. She reported me for elder abuse. And I was like, how? I was very confused. I was like, how is she gonna report me for elder abuse when, like, I don't even barely touch this lady? She said that I was abusing her and that I was being very rough with her when I would turn her, like, to change her diaper. I don't want to say diaper. It's not called a diaper. You guys know what it's called. If you're a CNA, you know what it's called. I forgot. But anyways, the diaper thing, when I would change her, she said that I was being very rough and all this stuff. And I'm just like, when I would change her though, she could roll herself over. Okay, so I didn't even actually touch her. so I was like, what? I don't understand how that's even possible. So basically, I had to get like suspended. I guess I got suspended, probation. I don't know. Anyways, I couldn't go to work for a few days while they investigated or whatever. So that sucked. But I was at home and they finally called me in to talk to me. They did that and they decided I could come back. And then probably like a couple weeks later, one of the people from the California Department of Public Health came to talk to me about what was going on. So I talked to him and he told me, like, he was asking me questions. He didn't tell me anything. He was asking me questions like about my experience with this particular resident, and I told him everything, truthfully. Told him everything he asked me, and I was like, basically, she's become increasingly demanding towards just me. I don't know if it's because I was Mexican or what it was, but she was being very demanding with me, and she started saying that I was abusing her and all this stuff, and I don't know what's going on with her, but that's not the case. After they investigated the case, nothing really happened. I wasn't like found guilty. I don't know. It's not like I was on trial, but I guess they figured that I wasn't doing anything that I wasn't supposed to be doing. So anyways, I was good to go, after that. But I still couldn't take care of her or enter her room or whatever. And then she even got to the point, like, this lady was pushing it so far, like, okay, like, first of all, I didn't even do anything to you for you to be trying to report me for any type of reason. Like I would never do that in a million years. That's not my personality. I would never abuse an elderly person who can't take care of themselves ever in a million years. Never. Okay? Ever. And then, so I guess not having me work in her room wasn't enough. She decided that she didn't want me working that entire hallway because she didn't want to hear the sound of my voice when I was walking by. She didn't want to see me when I walked by her room. Nothing. And so I was like, okay, you know what? This is getting kind of crazy.
I would just like to add that in this particular facility, the hallway that this lady was in was literally like the main hallway. Like, this hallway led to the kitchen. There was like 2 dining halls down this hallway, and really, like, even if I was working in a different hallway, no matter what I did, I would still have to pass through this hallway. So it was just kind of getting unreasonable at that point, and I really felt like I was being targeted.
Like, the fact that the nursing facility I was working at was like almost like trying to go along with it, it was very upsetting for me, because I was like, are you serious? Like, I can't work with any of the other residents in this part of the hallway because she is making false claims. When I was found, like, not guilty or whatever you want to call it, I don't know what it's called, but basically, like, I didn't do anything wrong and it was proven, and she's over here saying that I did. And so what? I can't work with the people I want to work with. So at that point forward, I had been working there for probably like 4 or 5 months or something like that. And all that had happened with the whole like abuse report and all this crap, and I was just like kind of over it. Like, honestly, like, I had, my passion was just dwindling. Like, it was still there, it was like a little flicker, but it was definitely dwindling, because I'm like basically this one lady in her one report of me basically being a bad person, it felt like it was affecting my job, like where I was allowed to work and all this stuff. And it was just too much for me to handle, because I was like, wow, one person really can just screw everything up for you. And like, that's the part that these people don't realize, is like, when you're a caregiver or something, like, if one person, even if they're lying, like, the fact that they go and report you, like, that affects how people, like, look at you. It affects how your other residents look at you. And I'm not exactly sure, but I've been told before that, like, even if, like, you were found not guilty or whatever the heck it's called, it still, like, puts a little ding on your record as a C.N.A. So it's like, really? Like, for no reason. Like, just because I didn't get you your water fast enough. Like, I'm so sorry I have, 11 other residents. Like, are you kidding me? So I was just kind of over it at that point. I mean, I was still taking care of people like the way I was supposed to. I was doing everything I was supposed to do. But like my whole like my demeanor changed. Like I didn't even want to get close to none of my residents no more because it's just like, wow. Like I felt kind of close to this lady before she reported me. And it's like because I didn't do something fast enough, like you completely 180'd on me and it was just messed up, man. So I was pretty just like over it. So anyways, a couple months go by. I was working there for like 6 months, and around this time, it's probably like, this was like December of 2015. It was January 2017, because this is the day I got married, so, which is December 7th, and I remember I had gotten married while I was working there. So January of 2017, I had started having these really strange like panic attacks. I remember being in the room with one of my residents one time, and one of the nurses had come by to talk to me and my friend who was working that same hallway with me. He was in there. We were in the room, and he was talking to us, basically just like giving us a little refresher on how to transfer people, or he was telling us something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he was telling us something, and I just started feeling like I couldn't breathe. Like I couldn't breathe, and like it felt like the room was spinning, and I just felt really lightheaded. And I was like, what in the world is going on with me? I didn't know what was happening. I had never felt that way before, at least not to that extent. Like it was just, it felt very like, I thought I was dying. It was really weird. You know, it continued to happen over the course of like the next few weeks, the next couple weeks or something like that, and I just felt ill. Like I couldn't do anything. Like I stopped going to work, and I just eventually ended up deciding to quit because I was like, why do I want to go to work feeling like this? Like it's the worst feeling I ever had felt. Even though I know that mental health is a touchy subject, I believe that sharing your own personal experiences with others can help validate their feelings, and it can help, you know, make them feel like they're not alone. Because definitely during this particular time in my life when this anxiety started and I started having these panic attacks, I felt very alone. I felt like I was being held captive in my own body, because it's like this feeling you can't escape. You know, you can't get away from it because like you can't leave your body. So ultimately, the reason I ended up quitting my job as a C.N.A. was because I felt like that whole situation with that lady reporting me and all that like tarnished my reputation in a way, because I felt like people kind of looked at me differently, even though I didn't do anything. You know, it still like puts that thought in their head, like, but what if she did? You know what I mean? And I didn't like that. And the fact that I wasn't allowed to work with like the people I enjoyed working with like really sucked. And I was just like not happy about that. And then on top of that, like, I don't know if it was an accumulation of all those other things, but like I started having really severe anxiety and panic attacks and stuff like that. So it just made me not want to go to work. So I ended up quitting. And after I quit that job, I decided, you know what? I don't want to be a C.N.A. anymore. I decided I don't want to do that no more. And I got back in school, and well, I still haven't finished my degree yet, but my plan ultimately, like I've been on and off going to college, but ultimately my plan is to get my associate's degree, at least associate's degree in accounting. We'll see how that goes. C.N.A. is a very hard job. Very, very hard, and I respect you if you're doing it. In my own personal experience, like we were the ones doing all the lifting, transfers, showering, toileting, getting them whatever they request, serving them dinner, cleaning up their dinner, getting them ready for bed, everything like that. No, your CNAs are doing a lot of hard work, and I appreciate you guys a lot. Appreciate you guys so much for taking care of people's loved ones and trying your best to do a good job, because it is not easy, especially when you have 12 residents. I respect you so much. Like, y'all deserve a raise. That's all I'm gonna say. Definitely not my hardest job I've ever had. I think the hardest job I ever had was at Amazon, but that's a whole nother story. let me know if you want to hear about that. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you're staying safe out here during all this COVID-19 madness. And if you want to hear more about my other jobs that I've let go, let me know. I have some other story time ideas that I'm going to be making pretty soon. So if you want to hear about that, stay posted. Stay tuned. Because it's going to happen, you know what I'm saying? It's going to happen. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time. I'm pretty sure I'm hearing gunshots right now. Do you guys hear that? I think that's the riots. I'm pretty sure that's the riots. Ooh, I don't like this.